using UiPath. My name is Andy Menon, and I will be your instructor for this course. Let's get started. This is not a beginner's course in UiPath. Therefore, we'll go through a list of few prerequisites in order to get the best out of this course. We'll also take a look at the need for an advanced process flow template. Why does this template exist, and why did I create it? Going beyond the config Excel file. The current trend is to configure settings for a UiPath RPA process flow using an Excel file. In this course, we'll look at the alternatives without having to compromise on the original practice of having an Excel configuration file. Centralizing RPA process flow configurations. Obviously, in an enterprise where there are many number of processes, the practice, most often than not, is to create centralized resources. We'll take a look at why it's good to do this. The configuration database. When you speak centralized resource, it leads to the standard practice of having a database. We'll take a look at how this database was designed. Also, please note that basic knowledge of SQL or structured query language is required for this section. Further, we'll take a look at the master configuration file. This is a very small Excel file that provides an entry point to the workings of the RPA process flow. In this section, we'll take a look at how this file is set up and configured. A closer look at the advanced RPA or ERPA process flow template. This is where we'll look at the nuts and bolts of the advanced ERPA framework. Audience who are already familiar with the UiPath's Robotic Enterprise Framework will find this section very familiar. With that assumption in mind, we'll focus on what enhancements have been built into the ERPA framework. Implementing a process flow configuration. In this section, we'll go through the process of setting up the base configuration for a new RPA process flow. We'll clone the standard or out-of-the-box settings to create the base minimum configuration that is required for a new RPA process. UiPath selectors as parameters. One of the goals of the ERPA framework is to standardize as many aspects of the RPA process flow as possible. For this reason, we'll need to look at how we might use UiPath selectors as parameters to the workflows. Besides, when we are talking about configuration, it isn't a good idea to keep a lot of things hard-coded in the first place. Crafting selectors as expressions. We'll take a closer look at how to take a hard-coded selector, convert it into an expression, unit test it, and then configure it as a setting in the configuration database. Implementing the sample RPA process flow. This is where everything that we learned in this course comes together. We'll look at how the sample RPA process that accompanies this course was implemented. Thank you.